Hello all and welcome to a new YouTube video on our YouTube channel, The Third Man Musings. What a day it's been. On a day when the day started, it looked like maybe Australia is inching a little bit ahead in the second test match. But again, it's this legendary spin duo of Ashwin and Jadeja, which wrapped the match in India's favor well within the first session, right? We were expecting it to be a long day, but the day got wrapped up within the first two sessions itself, and India now go 2-0 up in the Border Gavaskar trophy, thus retaining it for the fourth consecutive time, making it a record. So a great day for Indian cricket, and it's got wrapped up on a weekend with another 2.5 day test match. Sumit, what are your thoughts on the fantastic Indian victory?
Yeah, Suja, I didn't think it'll get wrapped up in 3 days, like after yesterday's play. I think Australian team yesterday saw a lot of Harry Potter movies because they were just influenced by the broom. Everything had to be swept, and that strategy really failed badly. So something to reconsider how to score runs on these pitches and see the Indian batsmen who honestly don't play spin so well, but definitely they try to play with a straight bat and make the runs and at least survive through the day. So let's see how it goes. We'll go over the session by session analysis and see how Australia screwed themselves this time, because I think they were in a very dominant position in this match and should have done better and at least made this a close contest. So starting with day one, again they were lucky with the toss. They started with the batting, and Khwaja showed good promise with his decisive footwork and sweeps and reverse sweeps. So he got a very good score, and I think at the end of the first session, Australia well placed, and Lavushin as usual looked good. So positive start, but then I think it started. I mean, once India took control with the in and out fields, we could see the change, right?
Right. So I think Australia definitely, learned from their mistakes in Nagpur in the first innings at least, right? I think we spoke in our previous video also, they were getting stuck a lot on the crease in Nagpur, right? Which led to their downfall of, 177 and 91. I think in the first innings at least, they made a very positive strategy of, using their feet, at least with Khawaja and Handscomb. What we did notice was they were using their feet, and then they were trying to unsettle the bowlers with the judicious use of sweeps and reverse sweeps, right? And I think India were ultra attacking in the first session. I think Rohit put a lot of fielders in catching positions, and that's why they scored 91 in the first session, right? Even though Shami and Siraj bowled well, there were a lot of hits and misses, but still I think all the edges were going down to third man, our favorite position. And 91 runs in the first session were a lot, right? So I think Australia started off well, and 263 on a day one wicket in Indian spinning conditions is still a
Right.
competitive score. So at least they started off on the right.
And by the day end, India were 21 for 0, and the pitch was showing venom. It looked scary by the way it was not bouncing, because Delhi pitch traditionally loses its bounce as we carry on with the test match. So 21 for 0, precariously placed, and the first session again being the most important session in every test match. I think you keep talking about it in every game, right? The first session is the most important. So next day, Rohit looked good again. This is one thing. This Rohit Sharma is the Rohit Sharma, the real Rohit Sharma, the hitman, right? So very decisive footwork, and he will get out. These are pitches where you get out, but it's just how you look and the intent. Our KL Rahul obviously is on the other side of the paradigm, I think. So he looked like he was struggling again, and something about this guy, right, in the head. I don't know who's talking to whom, and there's no. It's puzzling because I've seen this guy play the most amazing innings ever, and at one time he was the mainstay. That's why he has this position in the team. He was a vice captain, he was a captain, a keeper. But suddenly there's too many voices in his head. There's no clarity, and you can see it in his approach, right? And just unfortunate again that again he got out. Pujara looks very scary whenever he bats. I mean, for a guy who was so solid in 100 tests, whenever he comes, it looks like okay, this is a minefield all over again. So he got out. Kohli, now we've been discussing Kohli over the course of this series, and the footwork was very good this time. More decisive, coming to the pitch of the ball. He didn't look stuck on the crease, and you could see the scores might not be so much. It's 40 and 20 in 2 innings, but it looked good. And I think that's one of the biggest positives besides Akshar's batting, that Kohli looks like he's getting the groove, and the spinners won't be troubling him that much. He did give his token wicket to the new bowler, Matthew Kuhneman, so he continues his charity towards new bowlers. So I think the Indian top order, on a general note, I think after seeing Pujara's innings in the second innings, I think we are in a better position than we were after the Nagpur test.
Right. And what I especially liked about Kohli is, I think we spoke in the previous video where he was getting camped on the back foot a lot, right? I think he was feeling very comfortable to go on the back foot, but whenever the ball then, either bounced extra or stayed low, that was getting him into trouble on the back foot. This innings, he was more decisive. He was coming down the track also. Even while defending, he was, bringing in a good stride and coming out. So that I liked. Very, very decisive in his footwork, right? Not for a minute till he got out. In fact, that he looked like getting
Yep.
out also. It almost looked like, if he stayed for another hour or 2 hours, he might well have got close to 100 also. So he was looking good. KH Rahul, I think, has been the biggest talking point on social media, right? Okay, we agree he has talent. At one point, I think, after after Rohit and Virat, he was the third best batsman in the country, right?
Yeah.
Prodigious talent. But the question is, till what point do you back a talent, right? Like we all remember Karun Nair got a 300 against England.
Mhm.
But once the batsman he was replacing in that match came back, he didn't get chances. Now, what can a guy do more than getting a 300, right? So
300, yeah.
there has to be a clear line how much a batsman is backed. I think KL Rahul has been given enough chances. That stat is now getting even more worrisome. Last 12 innings, he's got 150, but I saw another stat that he's crossed 25 only once. So forget the
Okay.
50 part,
No
he's
start.
crossed 25 only once in 12 innings. So
Mm.
that's a worrying stat. I think enough chances have been given, and now the selectors should back Gill in the third test. But that's another talking point. But that's what we'll have to see. And then Australia did really well on the second day. I mean, yesterday at I think around lunch, right? Yeah, around lunch, India were 139 for 7. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if they had managed to get the lower order out quickly, they could have got a lead of 80, 100 runs, which could have proved decisive. But again, the Indian lower order was superb. I mean, those
That's
three
the match.
spinning all rounders are just game changers for us.
Definitely. They are playing as batsmen sometimes. Even Akshar is playing like a batsman. He doesn't bowl anymore, right? Got hot. 12 overs in the first innings and hardly any bowling in the second innings. So his dream of becoming the fastest test bowler to 50 wickets is gone because Jadeja came back. So he doesn't bowl much. But his batting is so classy on these pitches. All those years of domestic cricket has helped. The way he plays the spin in the V with a straight bat, if there's no sweep in particular, if there's a slog sweep, and again that's smart cricket, right? He targeted the debutant bowler, the left armour, which is a good matchup for him. So the slog sweeps happened. He did a counter attack. He he settled the combination with Ashwin, and the batting was, we were running 39 for 7 as you said, right? So 260, 130 runs ahead. So that could have been a very critical moment. I would have given the man of the match to him. I know Jadeja bowled a superb spell for 7 wickets, but at that point, if Akshar had gone, Australia would have had a 100 run lead at least, and the game was over. Because Australia then, with the confidence, would have made 100, 150, even with all the harakiri they did with the batting, and chasing 250 would have been so tough. So credit to him. And by that time, there was just a one run lead conceded to Australia, and Australia's batting was very surprising. I think the Warner concussion helped them because was primarily an opener before he became a middle order batter, and that guy likes the ball coming to the bat, and he counter attacked.
I
So
wanted to
Australia,
get your thoughts on that, Sumit. Were you impressed with that strategy of sending head up the order to
right?
open the batting? Looked like a master stroke at the end of day two,
Yes.
right?
I don't think they had an option because Renshaw looks like a walking wicket, and Head is an opener who struggles against spin. So they tried it out. It worked wonderfully.
Right.
62 for 1 in the last session was brilliantly placed, right? So, and that's why we got a bit scared also that, okay, this guy's going to, if he stays for half an hour even on next day, they're going to reach 100 plus, and then Australia can, reach the 200 mark. So at the end of
Right.
day two, that was one of the, it was pretty even. I mean, Australia was ahead actually, if anything. Then we
Yeah.
start with day three. And that's when the magic happened. I think 10:01 a.m. to 11 a.m. is when everything shattered for the Australian team. Smith, I think got out, was the third wicket, 90 for 3, landing up at 113. Did the pitch do so much? I really did not see anything in the pitch. I mean, it's a Indian pitch, right? It will spin.
So the morning session is when a lot happens for the bowlers, right? I think in this match we have seen the new ball comes onto the bat nicely, you can get runs. Old ball also, I think once the seam goes off the ball, then it becomes easier to bat once it becomes soft. The semi-new ball has been difficult to bat, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think Australia needed to keep in mind that if they somehow get through the session, maybe losing maximum 2 or 3 wickets, in the afternoon and evening sessions it would have become easier to bat, right? But I think in this quest to become very positive, I think they try to repeat the mantra of the first innings, but maybe even become more aggressive than that. I think they got caught up. I think few of them got good deliveries. The ball to head was a
Handsome.
good one.
Hmm. Handsome
Marnus
also.
Labuschagne got a very good ball.
Yes.
Hanscomb also got a very good ball. But then if you see, Smith also doesn't generally sweep, not a big
He
sweeper of the
doesn't.
ball.
Yeah, yeah.
Lost his wicket to a sweep. Renshaw looked like a walking wicket. He was trying to sweep every ball, right? It was not even like he was
Yeah.
trying to defend some, he was trying to sweep every ball. Cummins played an atrocious shot. And
Well,
as a
uh,
captain, I think you need to play with more
I mean,
responsibility.
he made 30 out in the first innings, and there was a responsible
Right,
innings. So, and he can bat, right? So he
right,
should have tried at least to get 10 15
correct,
and bat with the
correct.
batter. So
That was a
shocking shot that
wild
one.
slog. I mean, there was no method to the madness, right? And then again, the lower order also. Lyon went out slogging. Kuhneman was
Yeah,
again reverse sweeping, being a number 11. Carey actually
that.
can be a good player against spin. Even he went reverse sweeping. So I think, okay, I get what they were trying to do, but at least respect the bowlers, right? Ashwin and Jadeja in home conditions are legendary. You need to, maybe they could have, what they could have done was maybe played them out and then tried stuff against the other bowlers. But definitely
Use,
questionable tactics. Yeah,
use their feet, you know, try to upset the length. Something what Rohit talked about. And Carey's dismissal was comical because Jadeja balled it on the length stump and he's still, reverse sweeping. So it's a clear premeditated shot that, okay, I'm going to reverse sweep no matter what is the length of the line. And he missed it completely. It hit the leg stump for him when he was doing a reverse sweep. So it was comical.
all
It
his
was
three
just
stumps were exposed. He was way
exactly.
outside the off stump. Yeah,
It reminded me of those collapses we have, when we play abroad. When the
yeah,
pace bowlers come and the ball is swinging, seaming, and we're just
yeah,
edging everything. It is one of those things
yeah.
that bad nightmare, 1 hour, 2 hours, and your match is over. All the hard work of two
Correct.
days gone to dust. So once Australia did that, we were sure, right? I mean, unless again a collapse happens, which I did not expect because Australian bowling was good, but Lyon upped his game. He bowled with greater pace, so he was
He
venomous.
did.
And Murphy looked good as usual, but Kunaman was just like a support. He was like they were trying to do a Jadeja with him, which obviously is not going to happen. So he could be defended against. Cummins did not bowl. He like screw it. I'm not going to bowl this innings. I'll just captain and go because he knew the writing was on the wall. Indian batting, Rohit again brilliant, a good counter attack, 32 of 20. Rohit and Pujara trying to steal a quick double does not make sense. They should not try all that. Just take a
Both are
single.
not great runners between the wickets. Yeah.
That was one of the funniest thing. And Rohit, I think, showed respect to Pujara's 100 test because ideally
Yeah.
Pujara should have sacrificed himself with Rohit's one.
Right.
But okay, the total was less. Pujara looked better by then. But Rohit was classy. He was counter attacking and scaring those training bowlers. KL Rahul, when things are bad, they really go bad for you. So poor guy tried to take a single, hit the pad of the short leg, and got caught by the keeper. So when things again, bad things happen, you call them, your luck runs out. Your mind is negative.
But then
Everything is
they say
negative. Then
fortune favors the
the
brave, right? I
brave is
think
not brave at
again, if he
all.
was trying to to be brave, maybe possibly luck would have favored him. But again, he was looking. I mean, you can see it in his
And
eyes,
yeah,
right?
I know
That
what
fear of
he's
getting
scared
out
of.
is very evident.
Yeah.
Yeah, very evident. So I think that's what happens sometimes when you're not brave enough. Luck can go against you.
Then the batting took off. Kohli again looked very good and was beaten by a good delivery. He tried to get to the pitch of the ball. So good thing. He was using his feet. He missed the ball because it went straight on. So fair enough. That
Correct.
kind of dismissal is better than when he's camped on the back foot and he misses something. So
Correct.
it's fine. He looked good with those boundaries and singles. And one good move which I liked, I think we discussed it also, was sending Bharat in. So the match was
Right.
done. You wanted to test out your. He's not a youngster. I think he's still pretty old, but
Early
he
30s, I guess.
early
31,
30s.
32.
So he was sent and he showed good temperament, good drives, and again, a domestic player, so he will play spin better. So you could see that quality, and he finished the game. gave Pujara the option to finish the match on his 100th, and that was a fun last over. If you remember, Murphy was bowling, we needed 1 run. And Pujara again was doing that weird defending he does. He runs down the track and just puts his whole body. He was, I was wondering how this guy's going to get a single, but then I think he said, "Let me just hit it over the top," and he hit his typical down the ground, taking over the mid-on boundary. So all in all, very comprehensive victory by the end of it, which did not look likely at the end of day two, and. I don't see any way ahead for Australia now. I mean, this was a very good match to get back because they were in the position to dominate, but they completely lost it with the stupid sweeping they kept doing again and again. So let's see for next test, how badly they can lose. It's been to thing to note is Australia has won both the tosses, and India has retained the border Gavaskar in 5 days effectively with 2 test matches. So a lot of gap between the two teams.
Yeah.
I think one point we haven't discussed in detail was the Nitin Menon show, right? So, what did you think? Was it out or?
I know Nitin Menon is getting trolled a lot on social media, but when I saw it live, at least, see, it wasn't a very blatant not out decision, right? Sometimes the ball hits the bat and pad together, and the on-field umpire sometimes has to make a split-second call, right? So I mean, I don't blame him. Maybe he thought the ball hit the pad marginally first, and then he could have also thought that Australia had burnt all their reviews, right? Again, there also their thinking was a bit messed up. 2 reviews wasted on KL Rahul, and yeah,
I think that's Rahul's best contribution to the match.
All 3 looked blatantly not out, right? So they wasted that. Maybe he was a bit skeptical that if this was out and then Australia didn't have any reviews, then maybe his error would have got magnified even more, right? So I think he went with that call just to, so that even if it's a wrong call, maybe it would have got reversed on the referral, right? But now an interesting point on these referrals is, and maybe ICC might have to look into this. In the olden days, before the pre-DRS era, we had this concept of the benefit of the doubt goes to the batsman, right? In a 50-50 situation, the batsman is adjudicated not out and allowed to carry on. But now, post the DRS era, whatever is the on-field decision, unless there is evidence to counter that decision or negate that decision, the on-field decision will stay. So in this situation where the ball was hitting most likely the bat and pad at the same time, the umpire didn't have conclusive evidence to overthrow that decision on the field, right? So that is one thing that the ICC might have to look at. And then I think there was another clause you were referring to, right? That whenever the ball hits the bat and pad together, a clause says that it should be ruled as a bat hitting the ball. Right? So that is one talking point, but yeah, I think Nitin Menon is being
I think it's
trolled a bit unfairly. I think he was trying to be objective, but sometimes
I think the pace with which he gave the decision was also puzzling. He just immediately raised his finger as soon as it happened. And again, it's Kohli, right? It's one of those things that Sachin also used to get out to controversial decisions. There was huge issues. If this was Rahul, people would have clapped for Nitin that, okay, it's good you got him out. Let's get on to the game.
So, people were thanking Lyon today, second innings, for getting him out quickly. So, getting him out quickly. So
actually, what I heard was Rahul clearly told Rohit that, I'll take care of the Australian lead and you guys take care of everything else. So he scored the 1 run and then he got out. Like, okay, I've done my job. So, that's what I heard in the dressing room talk. So coming to the next test, possible changes. So let's start with India, and the obvious one is the opener. And from what I hear, again, he's going to get back. And India now needs to meet 1 test out of the next 2 for qualifying for the WTC final. So most likely this guy is going to still be there because everything else worked in this team. Shreyas looked very good, didn't get the score, but he's a quality player against spin, one of the best with Akshar and Rohit in this team by the looks of it. So I don't see any changes if they want to rest one of the pacers and give Unadkat another go because he won the title with Saurashtra today. So say, okay, you go, man, just have a good time. Maybe they want to rest Shami or Siraj. Otherwise, I don't see any change. You think Rahul will get dropped? I don't think personally. I think he'll get one more chance and then we go on from there.
Again, it's difficult to predict, but I think today, somewhere when he got out, a lot of us, whoever were watching the match, got the feeling that this could be his last innings in white for some time at least, right?
Mm.
Because Shubman Gill has been on the fringes for some time now in the
Yes,
form of his life. I think it's unfair to, when a
a lot of
batsman
players.
is hit that purple patch, it's not fair to keep them on the bench, right? So I have, I don't know, I have a feeling Shubman Gill could be in, but then the management seems to love Rahul a lot and back him, so don't be surprised if he comes in. Shami, I think, will continue. He was fantastic in that first
In the
innings,
first
right? The
innings.
ball, he was getting it to reverse swing really well. So I was very impressed. And Ashwin and Jadeja, I mean, we don't,
Yeah,
I mean, we take them for granted at times, right?
yeah,
In
yeah.
subcontinent pitches, but no praise is enough for them. Today, really, they had a lot of burden on their shoulders because
They
yesterday
did.
they didn't bowl well. 60 runs lead, had that swelled up to 200, 250. India was in a
They were
spot
done.
of
Yeah.
war there, but they just
Yes.
kept at it, and the way they broke through was impressive. So they'll continue. On Australia's side, and let me know your thoughts, Sumit. I felt Kuhneman didn't have a bad debut, but at
Mm.
no point did he look
Threatening.
threatening to get wickets, right? He was just holding one end up. I, in fact, felt Murphy was underboard, right?
Yes.
He
Yes.
just 18 overs in the first innings, and second innings also, I think he bowled 7 overs only. Whereas he was actually looking threatening. He got the wicket of Kohli in the second innings
Mm.
also. And I think they need some variety. Maybe Star comes in, right, to bring in some sort of
Somebody who takes out the
potency to
pitch
this
out of the
bowling attack,
equation.
or
Yeah.
a right arm leg spinner in Swepson. This current bowling attack, and Puniman, at least I
Mm.
don't foresee him playing the next test. But would love to hear your
Uh,
thoughts on this
Yes, and I'll
combination.
start with the batting because I think the batting has worked itself out. So Warner with the concussion and I think the hairline fracture on the elbow is not going to play. He was anyway struggling for runs, so Head becomes your opener. Now the decision has to be between Renshaw and Green, and I think Renshaw has shown enough to show that he's not going to do anything on this tour. So might as well give Green a go with his long levers, and I'm sure that guy also sweeps a lot, by the way. But it's his,
I think
it's
even if he is half fit, they'll have to take a chance on
yeah,
him.
just play him as a
Yeah,
batter. Don't
yeah,
give him bowling because your paces anyway not going to bowl on this pitch. He actually might come in hand if you play again three spinners and Cummins and a pacer, so he can give you some overs of pace. So probably go on that line. Their problem is their captain is a kind of a liability in these conditions. We traditionally see Pat Cummins struggling in IPL also. He's not a very good bowler in these conditions, and if the ball is not doing anything, and he does not have that reverse like Stark, so I don't think he'll be brave enough to drop himself. So he has to play as, so the one slot is gone. Now you have three spinner slot, and Lyon and Murphy are done. They will be there for the tour. And Lyon really picked it up this time with his more emphasis on greater pace. The last slot is between a spinner and a pacer, as you said. Swepson, being a leg spinner, might get a go if they still want to play the extra spinner. And India is playing two pacers, and Australia is playing one pacer, so times have really changed.
right.
So I would totally go for Stark because that's one guy who can reverse and take the pitch out of the equation, do short bowling, nasty bowling, and probably scare Indian batsmen because of their past issues against the short ball. It's worth a gamble, but it's very tough because no matter how good the bowlers we are batting till 9 now. I'm like very
Correct.
bullish on that. We are our best batsmen are coming after 5 in a way. Jadeja looks so solid. Akshar looks solid. Ashwin gives you 20-30 every time and Shami comes and swings his bat. So we're very sorted on that account. So
And
Australia
even
need to back
Shreyas is
it.
looking good, right? I know he
Yeah,
didn't get
he
the
will
big
contribute.
scores in this match, but first innings also, I think the catch was superb. Otherwise, he was looking
Yeah, he was
good.
unlucky there.
Second innings also, he timed the shot well, just that he got caught on the boundary. But he's
He's
looking
showing
good
the
too.
intent. Yeah,
Yeah,
the confidence is there, right? That's what you want to see.
yeah,
Confidence, which scares the bowlers also. Rahul is
correct.
giving confidence to them than us. He's doing the thumbs up that Smith did to Jadeja without showing the thumbs up. He's showing his bat. So somebody from our and Venkatesh Prasad has
Oh
covered.
God, he's
I
having a
don't know.
field day on Twitter.
He's going crazy. I think he'll go to the PM very soon. Just asking to take this guy out. It's too much of my BP is raising because of this guy. So all in all, yeah, Australia are in a big hole now. I don't see them coming back. 4-0 looks inevitable, and I'd be very surprised because this was their match. Honestly, after day 2, they should have won this match. Draw was
Correct.
never on the cards with that pitches, right? So don't see them coming back now. India just need to be don't get too bullish and just play Rahul is the only one who's not performing now. I think everybody else has given a good account of themselves in batting as well. So we can see the next match. One more match for him, and if this doesn't work, then I'm sure Gul will come. I think I can be very certain about that. So yeah, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, interesting to see. Next, folks, do remember that the next test match has moved from Dharamshala to Indore
Indra.
now. So
Mm.
do remember that. And Indore and Ahmedabad both have red soil. So Delhi was black soil. Here it's red soil, so it's expected to turn more. And one
Oh,
scary
nice.
stat for Australians: Ashwin averages 12 with the ball in Indore.
Oh,
So
brilliant.
so
It
the
gets worse.
Ashwin phobia for them, gets heightened even more. But let's see how it goes, right? India now need only one more win to make it for the WTC final. And in another interesting scenario, Sumit, which I think we were just
Oh
discussing,
yeah,
that
Sri
if
Lanka
Australia lose 4-0 and Sri Lanka beat New Zealand 2-0 in New
in
Zealand,
New
then it
Zealand.
will be an India-Sri Lanka WTC final. So that's
In
also an interesting
Oval, right?
scenario. At the Oval, right? At the
I
Oval.
think
So
we have to hope for that. Because Australian Oval is going to be very tough assignment for us coming from
yeah,
the IPL. If it's India versus Sri Lanka, we can get the trophy. So then we start cheering for Sri Lanka. Highly unlikely. Two games.
yeah.
England is beating New Zealand very well. We can see Basball working there as well. So let's hope they break their confidence and form. And Sri Lanka can pick up the pieces, but very unlikely Sri Lanka's team to win two matches. I think 1-0 I would have still said 1 or 1.
Yeah, 2-0
2-0
is
is a bit much.
yeah, too much.
Miracles happen. Let's see.
Let's hope for the best. So, on that note, folks, that was our podcast for the second test. Hope you enjoyed this video. We enjoyed making this video. Lots of points to talk about, and what more to top it all than an Indian victory, right? That too within 2.5 days on a weekend. So, all's worked out well for us. Do let us know your thoughts. Could Australia have done better? Anything that you felt, India did well that Australia couldn't? Any changes that you foresee for the third and fourth test? And we would love to discuss those points in our next video. Till then it will be a 1 week break. Now the next third test is from March 1st to March 5th, so we'll see you after the third test. And till then, take care, stay safe, and do continue to like, share, subscribe, and comment. All your thoughts mean a lot to us. We are getting a lot of love, and we are even more enthusiastic now to make these videos. So keep sharing the love, and we'll see you after the third test. Then hopefully when India would have won this series. Okay then, folks, take care, and it's a wrap
Thank
from
you.
Sumit and I. Bye bye.
Bye bye.